China's plan to destroy Australia. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. We're going to look at an article which is discussing, well, a new Chinese project, of course, in iron ore in Africa, which has the potential to have a significant impact on the economy here in Australia, everyone. Now, before we go through this, let's just refresh ourselves with a little bit about the iron ore industry. It's one of, well, the 21st biggest traded commodity in the world. Its economic complexity is 926. It's not that complex a product. Remember, you've got the Iron Age, everyone. Okay, so just keep that in perspective. We are the biggest exporter of it, followed by Brazil. Now, Brazil, they've had some issues, some dam flooding, so their ability to provide iron ore has been a lot lower than it was. China is the biggest importer of iron ore. And the Australian iron ore is of a reasonably good quality, so they're swooping it up. You can see here Australia, Brazil, South Africa, and other countries. Mongolia is where they're looking to get more iron ore, particularly for China, as well as Africa. You can see China, well, they definitely are a net importer of iron ore, and we are certainly a net exporter. Now, iron ore, and we'll have a look at some of the ships later, just flooding over to China. This is showing you the global tariffs, which nations have them to protect their industries. There you go. So, we're iron ore dependent in many ways here in Australia. I'm just going to bring up the current iron ore price. We'll bring up trading economics, everyone, and have a look at here. Let's look at commodities. Where's iron ore? 220 US dollars, everyone. Now, our federal budget, our politicians are, the budget's planned on royalties from iron ore sitting at $50 US. There you go. That's just showing you. Now, this is a map of Western Australia, where most of Australian iron ore comes from. And you can see all of the operating mines in this state. It's a resource-rich state, everyone. A lot of iron ore is flowing out of Western Australia over to China and to other countries. One thing to consider is how much iron ore contributes to West Australia's economy. 24% from 2019 to 2020 of their government revenue came from iron ore, everyone. That's just the royalties. That's just the government. So you've got to understand how much of it would be going to a federal level as well, through taxation, through other things, and just how it ripples through the economy. Now, the trickle-down effect, it does work, everyone. I'm standing here. We started our business due to some Bechtel-run mines, everyone. We did all the architectural buildings on them. So, there you go. You're watching someone who's made some money off the coal industry. How many people do we know that work in the mining industry? Brother-in-law flies in and out. Well, actually, he's now successfully managed to negotiate reduced flying and more working from home, so more power to him. But there's a lot of people that are making coin, getting careers and businesses in natural resources. They're a good thing. They're something we need for Australia. You'll have the hippy-dippies and the greenies arguing that we should have a whole lot of guilt because we're exporting these natural resources overseas. We're exporting this coal overseas. Now, I just want to bring this quote just to remind everyone that if we were to cut all of our emissions in Australia to zero, it would make no difference in the from a climate perspective. Okay, just remember that. And this is a quote from Dr. Alan Finkel. He was asked if a 1.3% reduction in carbon emissions would make a change to the world, and, well, his response would be virtually nothing. And then he argued that we still should do it anyway to show leadership, among other things. This is the problem. We're not in a place to be leaders. We're a small country on the edge of the world, that we've got continuing declines in economic complexity. We've got a populace where normal people can't even afford a bloody home without going into debt forever. So maybe we shouldn't be virtue signaling on the global stage. Maybe we should be addressing things like, increasing employment, increasing quality of life here in Australia, and increasing our GDP, and maybe having an economy that just isn't obsessed with houses and natural resources. So let's have a look at this article from news.com.au written by Frank Chong. China-linked Ossinos strips African iron ore project from Australia. So we'll have to see. An Australian mining company says it is shocked after a former partner with links to major Chinese state-owned firms swept in to take over iron ore projects in Africa. Well, there you go. An Australian mining company says it is shocked that after a former partner with links to major Chinese state-owned firms swept in to take over a suite of iron ore projects in Africa. The deal between formerly ASX-listed AussieBroadband and the government of Cameroon over the weekend appears to have cemented China's control over up to 100 million tonnes of iron ore through a port and rail deal, the Australian reported. Perth-based Sundance Resources, which was also delisted from the stock exchange in December after drawn-out negotiations with AussieBroadband fell through, says it stalled Mambla Nababa iron ore project on the border of Cameroon and the Democratic Republic of Congo has been illegally taken away. We are shocked at these latest developments, not least because an Australian company, AussieBroadband, that we introduced into the Mambla Nababa iron ore project is attempting to benefit from the illegal expropriation of the Sundance's iron ore assets. Sundance Chief Executive Giuliano Casello said in a statement on Sunday, AussieBroadband has been our partner for a number of years. We worked in good faith to introduce AussieBroadband to our project and arranged a role for AussieBroadband in the negotiations with Cameroon and Congo on the basis of a clear understanding that AussieBroadband would act in our mutual interest in accordance with their legal obligations. Well, there you go. Looks like it didn't work out that way, did it? Sundance had reportedly given AussieBroadband access to detailed engineering work on the planned 40 million tonne a year mine on the understanding that AussieBroadband would bring in state-owned Chinese port and rail firms to help build and fund the project, which would include a 510-kilometre rail line. Well, here's the thing. Sundance needed AussieBroadband. AussieBroadband didn't need Sundance. You can't have the mines without the infrastructure to get it out. The infrastructure can make it a lot easier to build the mines. But the 100 million investment never came, and last year, a month after Sundance cut ties with AussieBroadband, the DRC stripped control of several iron ore projects from Sundance, fellow Australian companies Equatorial Resources and British firm Avima Iron Ore. Control of the combined deposits, which could produce up to 100 million tonnes of iron ore annually, had been handed to a Congolese entity controlled by Hong Kong-registered Bestway Finance on Saturday, and it's never the locals. I mean, okay, the locals will, if they get work and opportunities, it could be the best thing that happened to them in some of these remote areas. Could have a real job, everyone. Africa has a lot of opportunities, but the problem is they've got a lot of socialism and a lot of tin pot dictators everywhere, don't they? Anyway, on Saturday, AussieBroadband announced that it had entered into a memorandum of understanding with the government of Cameroon and Bestway to develop rail and port facilities with the capacity to transport, handle and process approximately 100 tonnes of iron ore per annum. Well, here's the thing. If AussieBroadband, they're probably best positioned. How many people are negotiating with them to do this deal? If they're in the position, they've got the knowledge, yeah, I'm not surprised, In its statement, Perth-based AussieBroadband revealed that despite Australia's borders largely remaining closed to ordinary citizens, it had obtained the necessary federal and state government travel approvals for its chairman, Chun Ming Ding, to visit West Africa after the DRC stripped the company's mining licenses. Well, there you go. There you go. I mean, us plebs, we can't travel, but, the elites can. Mr. Ding's discussions and the information gathered whilst in West Africa has culminated in the board determining that the company's core strategy should remain on pursuing the investment into the development of mineral resources in West Africa, AussieBroadband said. Part of this strategy involves working in collaboration with Bestway, who the company was introduced to in January 2021. Both Avima and Sundance have launched proceedings in the International Court of Arbitration of the International Chamber of Commerce against the DRC over the loss of their mining licenses. Avima is seeking $27 billion in damages, while Sundance is seeking $8.8 billion. We are taking all necessary action and preemptive measures to protect our investment against these unlawful attempts to expropriate our assets, said Avima executive chairman Socrates Basidalis said earlier this month. Sundance has also referred a dispute with Cameroon to arbitration. In his statement on Sunday, Mr. Casello said Sundance was considering whether it would expand the scope of our legal action. Sundance has fulfilled all its license obligations and gone above and beyond in both Cameroon and Congo, which is why we are so determined to challenge this illegal expropriation through the international courts, a process that is underway, he said. We're now considering, with the assistance of our legal advisors at Magic Circle, firm Clifford Chance, whether in light of these developments we need to expand the scope of our legal action to ensure we can protect the interests of Sundance and our investors. So you can see how this has the potential to be, well, a direct threat to Australia's iron ore interests and having a flow on to, other parts of our economy here. But there's one thing we need to keep in mind. We're going to hear a lot of these articles which are just beating the drums about issues with regards to trade. And, well, in some ways, right now, $200 a ton iron ore is insane, everyone. So there's going to be projects where they will become financially viable, not just in Australia, all over the world. I'm hoping that will lead to an increase in capital expenditure, more investment, more jobs, more opportunities. And you're going to see stuff like this happen. You're going to see China aggressively try and open up other sources of iron ore so they can keep stimulating their economy. Because it looks like they're doing the same thing they did during the GFC. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are going to be more and more ports and projects happening in China, led by China all over the world, used to facilitate new resources. But you've got to remember, it is a big world, and there are plenty of trade opportunities. Australia may have to pivot. Maybe we shouldn't be completely dependent to such a great extent on a nation that has a political system that's so ideologically different to ours. Although in some ways, they've got more freedom than we have. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I already said that again. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can sign up for SelfWealth or Stake. Use our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. Buy a merch from HeiseSays. Use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint or support us via PayPal. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.